My racist coworkers accused me of committing a hate crime when we went on a trip to Egypt because I'm black. They thought I was intentionally trying to look white to make them uncomfortable. My coworkers tried to expose me because I was committing whiteface. Someone even tried to dox me to a White Lives Matter forum, and I had hate texts for 3 weeks straight. I work in an overwhelmingly white neighborhood. In fact, many of the people who live here had never seen a black person before I came around. The office I work in is no exception to this, which causes a lot of extra explanations nearly every day. I get a lot of questions from my white employees about my thoughts on the Will Smith slap, Drake, and Popeyes. Usually, I chalk up their invasive questions to their personalities because I often get a million questions a day about my glowing tattoo sleeves. I only have one coworker who just chats with me about the bear, so naturally I fell in love quickly. But recently, I found myself stuck in an awkward moment I couldn't even get myself out of. My company announced a business trip to Egypt, which made me geek out because I could spend some more time with my crush. Plus, I've always wanted to feel the Egyptian sun on my back. I knew they were going to take about 5 million pictures there, so I tried to find some concealer to get rid of my eye bags, but I couldn't even find my perfect match in the brand I heard a lot of my coworkers rave about. But since it was 1,010 degrees over there, everyone told me to buy some sunscreen, so I did. However, I quickly realized the issue of grabbing any type of sunscreen because when I applied sunscreen to my skin, it would look almost gray. I had to go out with my coworkers looking like a gray rock. It was extremely greasy on application and was nearly impossible to blend into my makeup. Not to mention they covered up the tattoos I spent a fortune on, or made them look so hideously gray that I didn't feel like myself at all. It didn't help that I saw one of my coworkers wearing the same one, and it looked natural on them. I hated how I looked, but that was nothing compared to my coworkers' reactions to it. They kept giggling behind my back, and the first moment someone said something to me about it, they spilled a cup of ice on my back and accused me of being a black supremacist. I looked at her confused until my attacker told me I needed to at least get a lighter shade of white next time. I told them to back off, and another one of my coworkers came in and told me to knock it off because I was trying to enrage them. I couldn't even understand what was happening. I tried to explain that I didn't know the sunscreen would leave a white cast all over my body, but they just ignored me and went straight to our boss, and he went along with them because he said that it did look like I was trying to be white. For the next couple of days, they would continue to give me the cold shoulder, even when my boss needed a company picture to show our sponsors that we were having fun. He made us take a group picture, but since everyone was upset with me, they all posed about 1 foot away, acting as if social distancing was still active. That wasn't even the worst part because when they posted the picture on Facebook, they wrote a huge paragraph about how reverse racism was real, and I was the prime example of the worst type of racist there could be. And for once, I knew exactly what they were talking about because I looked like my name could be Kaylee. I knew it was the sunscreen causing the discoloration and that trip nearly faded all my tattoos, but I had no idea how to avoid it or fix it. I was using the same brand as everyone else was, and I knew every other sunscreen brand had a similar issue. I started to scroll on forums just to let out some steam and hate on every sunscreen brand that existed because there was no way I could show my face to my coworkers again, or even try to confront them. But while commenting on my 16th post about sunscreen, I saw someone mention sunscreen being used with OrganoShield technology, and how the sunscreen blended seamlessly with their skin despite them being just a few shades lighter than that one Euphoria foundation shade. I clicked on their link and read up on it. I saw that the sunscreen was a gel-like substance that rubbed off clear on the skin, and it was lightweight so it would be easy to forget you're even wearing sunscreen. It also contained ferulic acid, which lessens the redness of your face and lessens the visible veins, along with protecting from skin discoloration that comes from sun exposure. And when it mentioned that the sunscreen would protect my tattoos from sun damage and fading, I knew I had to buy it because no other sunscreen would do that. If I couldn't even trust any other sunscreen brand to blend into my dark skin, then there was no way I would trust it to keep my tattoos from fading. It came in 2 weeks, and I gasped as soon as I put it on because it was just as their site said. The OrganoShield sunscreen was smooth against my face, and disappeared as soon as I rubbed it all over my skin. It didn't even look like I was wearing sunscreen, and it helped that it wasn't so greasy either because the last thing I needed was to feel like I was rubbing a pizza all over my pores. The real test though was seeing how the OrganoShield worked on my tattoos. I rubbed it all over my arms, and it felt just like it did on my face. Knowing that soon my tattoos would return to their former glory made it easy to go to work, despite knowing that my coworkers were trying everything to make my life miserable. My coworkers didn't treat me any differently from the trip. In fact, one of them asked me if I was tired of appropriating their culture. This came from a coworker who dressed up as Pocahontas while her husband dressed up as John Smith 3 Halloweens in a row because they were the it couple. I thought that this would continue until the day I'd quit, but just a week after putting the sunscreen on, I noticed that my tattoos stopped looking faded and instead looked like they did the day I walked out of the tattoo shop. And my face was glowing, and my skin was healthier, which meant that the sunscreen was hydrating my skin and strengthening my skin barrier. I even looked a bit younger than I was before I started using it. I felt at peace knowing I was going to be one of the few people that looked 20 at 45, since everyone else let their skin be damaged by using bad brands of sunscreen or no sunscreen, but I was protecting my skin from UV rays while also rejuvenating it. When 2 weeks had passed and I was basically unrecognizable, I realized that my coworkers were much nicer to me. It first started off when they didn't make any stupid comments when I walked in. Even my crush started to talk to me for longer than 5 minutes, and he even managed to sneak in a "you look different," in a good way, comment towards me. I felt like I was going to faint and squeal before I reined it in and acted chill about it. But after that comment, I didn't feel so stupid to do what I've been wanting to do for a while, which was ask him to go see Despicable Me. To my surprise, he didn't say no. I even managed to go to my boss and make them pay for their treatment with me, along with a long overdue apology. I went home that night scrolling through forums and actually being nice to people for once. I even told some people to get the same sunscreen because I don't think I've ever found something as helpful with my skin shade until now. And unless skincare brands can adapt to differences like the creator of this OrganoShield sunscreen did, it should be boycotted and ignored. Everyone deserves to have good skin, even racist coworkers.